For many years, Danielle Colby remained silent while rumors about Frank Fritz continued to spread across the internet. With every passing season, the speculation became more intense. Fans questioned her loyalty, criticized her decisions, and demanded explanations she never gave. Some believed she was hiding something. Others assumed she had chosen sides. But behind her silence was something far more complicated. It was not indifference. It was grief, confusion, and the emotional burden of watching someone she deeply cared about slowly fade away. Danielle never wanted to turn private struggles into public entertainment. She believed that some stories did not belong to viewers, no matter how curious they were. Yet over time, her silence began to be misinterpreted. It was seen as avoidance instead of protection. It was seen as betrayal instead of compassion. What most people did not understand was that Danielle was quietly carrying years of memories, regrets, and emotional responsibility. She was watching a friendship collapse under pressure while trying to hold herself together. And when she finally decided to speak, it was not to create drama. It was to tell the truth she had kept hidden for far too long. Before American Pickers became a worldwide phenomenon, before millions tuned in every week, and before fame entered their lives, everything was much simpler. Danielle Colby was not a television personality. She was not a public figure. She was simply part of a small, determined team in Iowa trying to make a dream work. Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz traveled across the country in a van, searching for forgotten treasures in barns, basements, and storage units. Danielle stayed behind, running the business. She answered phones, organized leads, tracked inventory, and managed daily operations. While Mike and Frank explored the roads, Danielle held everything together at home. Her role was essential, even if it rarely appeared glamorous on screen. She made sure chaos turned into order. She handled problems before they became disasters. In those early years, success was uncertain. Networks doubted them. Investors hesitated. But Danielle believed in the project. She believed in Mike's vision and Frank's dedication. At that time, American Pickers was not about ratings. It was about passion, friendship, and shared ambition. From the beginning, Danielle understood the delicate balance between Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz. Mike was driven by big ideas. He wanted to build something lasting. He thought about branding, storytelling, and growth. Frank, on the other hand, focused on the details. He loved the objects themselves. He cared about their history, mechanics, and emotional value. Where Mike dreamed about expansion, Frank stayed grounded in craftsmanship. Danielle stood in the middle. She listened to Mike's endless plans and checked on Frank when he became quiet. She helped translate their different personalities into teamwork. This balance was the foundation of their early success. When disagreements happened, they were small. When arguments occurred, they ended in laughter. The friendship was genuine. It was built on trust and shared struggle. Danielle believed that bond was unbreakable. She never imagined that fame, pressure, and health issues would slowly weaken it. At that stage, everything still felt natural. The business grew organically. The friendships felt stable, and the future seemed bright. When the History Channel finally gave American Pickers a chance, none of them expected what followed. Almost overnight, their small shop became a destination. Fans traveled long distances just to meet them. Social media exploded. Interviews became routine. Danielle suddenly became recognizable everywhere she went, yet she never chased fame. She remained focused on her responsibilities. Viewers connected with her honesty, tattoos, humor, and straightforward attitude. She felt real. She felt relatable. While Mike and Frank became television stars, Danielle became the emotional anchor of the show. Behind the scenes, she handled logistics, schedules, and crises. She protected the team from unnecessary stress whenever possible. As popularity grew, so did pressure. Every episode now mattered financially. Every delay caused problems. Every mistake became expensive. The show was no longer just an adventure. It became a business machine. Danielle noticed this shift early. She felt the tone change in phone calls. Conversations became shorter. Laughter became rare. The joy was still there, but it was buried under responsibility. As American Pickers expanded, filming schedules became more demanding. Crews grew larger. Travel intensified. Deadlines became stricter. What once felt flexible now felt rigid. Mike Wolfe adapted quickly. He embraced leadership and responsibility. He expanded antique archaeology and took on the role of protector of the brand. Danielle respected his dedication. She understood that he felt responsible for everyone's livelihood. Frank, however, struggled with this transition. He had never enjoyed the spotlight. He preferred quiet work and simple routines. Television fame felt uncomfortable to him. Over time, Danielle noticed changes in his behavior. He became more withdrawn. He spoke less. He seemed emotionally exhausted. His energy faded. His curiosity declined. Something was wrong, but Frank rarely talked about his struggles. He avoided emotional conversations. When asked how he felt, he simply said he was tired. Danielle sensed there was more behind those words. She worried, but she respected his privacy. She never forced him to open up. She believed he would speak when he was ready. Behind the scenes, Frank Fritz had been battling Crohn's disease for many years. The condition caused severe pain, fatigue, and unpredictable medical complications. Filming schedules did not account for this reality. Long days, constant travel, and physical labor made his condition worse. Danielle learned about his struggles gradually through crew members and private conversations. She heard about hospital visits. She heard about missed shoots. She heard about moments when Frank had to step away quietly. He never made a scene. He never demanded special treatment. He simply endured. But endurance has limits. As his health declined, tension grew. Production needed consistency. Mike needed reliability. Frank needed understanding. The system was not designed for illness. Danielle once again found herself in the middle. She listened to both sides. She offered emotional support without judgment. She tried to keep peace. But she knew something was breaking beneath the surface. The friendship was being tested by forces none of them could fully control. On camera, everything still looked normal. Editing masked tension. Jokes remained. Smiles continued. Viewers saw adventure and friendship. They did not see exhaustion and frustration. Danielle knew the truth. She watched the show transform from a passion project into an industry. She saw how that transformation drained Frank emotionally and physically. He no longer felt like an equal partner. He felt replaceable. He felt invisible. That belief slowly damaged his confidence. He began withdrawing socially. Phone calls became rare. Messages went unanswered. Danielle felt helpless. She wanted to fix things, but some problems cannot be solved by kindness alone. Health issues, business pressure, and emotional isolation combined into a dangerous mix. Frank's sense of belonging was fading. And once belonging disappears, motivation disappears with it. Danielle feared that something irreversible was happening. Eventually, Frank's struggles expanded beyond physical illness. Chronic pain led to emotional distress. Emotional distress led to unhealthy coping mechanisms. Addiction entered his life quietly. Danielle did not learn everything immediately. When she did, she felt heartbreak, not judgment. She understood how easily suffering can push someone toward destructive habits. Frank entered rehabilitation to regain control. Danielle respected his courage. She never shared this publicly. She believed recovery should remain private. Unfortunately, while Frank focused on healing, the show continued without pause. Production could not wait. Schedules continued. Episodes were filmed. New plans were made. The distance between Frank and the team grew wider. He felt forgotten. They felt powerless. Misunderstandings multiplied. Communication collapsed. Silence replaced conversation. What had once been friendship slowly turned into emotional separation. When Frank stopped appearing regularly, fans noticed immediately. Questions flooded social media. Where was Frank? Why was he gone? Was there a fight? Was he fired? Danielle stayed silent. She believed explanations would only create more harm. Frank's health was not entertainment. His recovery was not a storyline, but silence allowed rumors to grow. Some accused Mike of betrayal. Others accused Danielle of choosing sides. Online debates became aggressive. Danielle watched quietly. She read comments filled with anger and assumptions. It hurt, but she refused to respond. She knew the truth was complex. There was no single villain. There was no simple explanation. There were only broken expectations and human limitations. Frank eventually shared his own perspective. He spoke about feeling abandoned. Danielle understood his emotions even if she disagreed with some details. Pain changes perception. Illness changes memory. She never tried to discredit him. When Frank officially left American Pickers, there was no farewell episode, no formal announcement, no public goodbye. One day he was there. The next he was gone. Danielle learned through a quiet conversation. Mike told her Frank would not return. There was no celebration. There was no relief, only sadness. The show moved forward. New cast members appeared. The format continued. But something essential was missing. Danielle felt it every time she watched. Frank's humor, curiosity, and grounded presence could not be replaced. She mourned privately. She continued working. She continued supporting Mike. But she also continued missing her friend. Fans misunderstood her loyalty. Supporting Mike did not mean abandoning Frank. It meant understanding reality. It meant accepting that not every ending is cruel. Some endings are simply inevitable. As rumors intensified, Danielle faced increasing pressure to speak. People demanded explanations. They wanted her to confirm their beliefs. They wanted drama. She refused. Speaking too early would have simplified a complex story. She waited until silence became harmful. Eventually, she chose to speak through a single Instagram post. It was not emotional manipulation. It was not an attack. It was honesty. She described Mike as her best friend and big brother. She also expressed sadness over Frank's struggles. She acknowledged years of pain. She confirmed that his journey had been difficult. She did not blame him. She did not shame him. She simply stated reality. Health and addiction had played major roles. The post reframed the narrative. It reminded fans that real people were involved. Real suffering existed behind the cameras. The reaction was immediate. Some fans praised her honesty. Others accused her of betrayal. Many demanded more details. Danielle refused to elaborate. She set boundaries. She explained that she was not interested in turning private pain into public spectacle. Her goal was correction, not exposure. She wanted to stop misinformation. She wanted to restore dignity. What she communicated was simple. There was no secret war. There was no conspiracy. There was no villain. There was only illness, pressure, and emotional exhaustion. It was a story without heroes or enemies, just flawed humans doing their best in difficult circumstances. After leaving the show, Frank's health continued to decline. Crohn's disease worsened. Complications increased. Hospital visits became frequent. Recovery became harder. Addiction recovery was unstable. Each setback weakened him further. According to people close to him, he was hospitalized many times in a short period. His independence disappeared. Daily tasks became difficult. His life shifted from adventure to survival. There were no comeback headlines. There were no dramatic returns. There was only quiet struggle. Danielle followed his condition privately. She checked in through mutual contacts. She hoped for improvement, but reality was harsh. Then came the stroke. It changed everything. It was severe. It caused permanent damage. Frank's life was altered overnight. He required constant care. Dreams of returning to television vanished completely. During this time, something important happened. Mike Wolfe visited him, not for publicity, not for cameras, for friendship. He stayed involved. He supported him emotionally. Danielle later confirmed this. The narrative of abandonment was false. The internet had created a story that did not match reality. Mike had never stopped caring. He simply did not advertise it. Frank Fritz passed away on September 30th at the age of 60. The news shocked fans. Mike announced it with genuine grief. He described Frank as sensitive, funny, and passionate. He honored their history. There was no defensiveness, no excuses, only sadness. For Danielle, the loss was deeply personal. She had watched Frank decline for years. She had seen his struggles up close. His death felt like losing a family member. It was the final chapter of a story that had been painful for a long time. With Frank gone, many fans reevaluated the past. Danielle's words suddenly made sense. Her silence now appeared protective, not selfish. Her loyalty appeared balanced, not biased. Her restraint appeared respectful, not deceptive. People began to understand that public explanations cannot heal private wounds. They began to see that some stories are too complex for social media arguments. American Pickers continues, but it is no longer the same. The original dynamic is gone. The emotional balance has shifted. Viewers still enjoy the show, but longtime fans recognize the difference. Frank's absence is felt, not just in screen time, but in spirit. His curiosity and authenticity were unique. They cannot be recreated. Danielle Colby's story is ultimately about emotional responsibility. She chose silence when speaking would have caused harm. She chose loyalty without cruelty. She chose honesty without exploitation. In a media culture that rewards conflict, she chose restraint. That choice came at a personal cost. She was misunderstood. She was criticized, but she protected her friend's dignity. The story of Frank Fritz's exit is not about failure. It is about vulnerability. It is about what happens when health, fame, and pressure collide. It is about how even strong friendships can fracture under stress. It is about how public success often hides private suffering. In the end, Danielle Colby did not rewrite history. She clarified it. She reminded fans that behind every show are real people with fragile lives. Frank's journey was not defined by his departure. It was defined by his passion, loyalty, and humanity. His legacy remains in every episode, every laugh, and every forgotten treasure he helped preserve. And perhaps the greatest lesson of this story is that not every ending needs a villain. Sometimes, life itself is the only opponent.